host, Real and Raw, and I am Lynn, and you are?
Brian, back for another week.
Yay! Oh, welcome back, my friend. I'm so glad we're here. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was
Fast?
nice. Yeah,
Fast.
it went by way. Everybody's to some degrees probably living a little bit more mobile lifestyle, maybe not, but yeah, it'll be nice to actually be in certain places for more than like 24 hours without going somewhere else.
Well, it's funny because I'm living vicariously through you right now because, in June, I'm planning to take this whole travel on the road, June, July, and at the end, I'm going to end up with you. So excited about that.
Uh-oh.
Not like that, you goof. I'm going to
No,
end
we're
up
going to end up
seeing
in
you
jail.
purpose. No, we're not. Facebook jail? Maybe I could see that. Oh, it'll be super cool.
Better get used to drinking whipped vodka.
It's funny. I might take that on the trip.
No, you won't. That means you'd have to clean it off because it's got dust on it.
Yeah, probably by then, right? That's another 3 months.
The Midwest is usually, like, to some people that have never been, it's usually that part of the country that most people just overlook if they're like, there's nobody living there or nothing going on, which is completely not true.
You know what? You gave me an idea. If I take that with me and everybody that I visit along the way, I can get them to sign their signature on that bottle. That'd be freaking cool.
Either that or everybody that you have signed, you got to take a shot with them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So we'll see how many shots. And my shots are like half a shot.
Yeah.
But that would be cool to get that whole damn thing.
Okay, so Gwen's going to show the bottle right now. Okay, that bottle. Let's see here. The last time she had anything out of there was that show we did with Bubba. And that right there is 3 drinks. Not one. 3 drinks.
Yeah. So
in the bar, people would want their money back. Okay.
So I think that would be really a pinnacle thing to do is to take that bottle and say, okay.
Wow. Let's use the name of the vodka in the title. There we go. All right. Well,
sponsorship. What the heck,
we are not sponsored by Pinnacle Vodka, but we could be.
That's right.
No, hey, we're me and my girlfriend are grilling, and little windy outside, but we had brats, like venison brats, wild rice and cheese,
nice.
Venison, and then wild rice that were from a butcher shop when we were up in Minnesota. So
nice.
We put them on the grill, and I'm like, man, the grill just wouldn't stay hot. So I don't know if it was the wind or the tank is getting empty. So I'm like, man, let's get these brats done before the show. So
yeah, there you go. Hey, that's just the best thing about, being entrepreneurs and doing the things the way we want to do, making them happen.
Well, you don't get in the way of a man grilling, you know what I'm saying? So you just don't do that, right? But we had showtime, so we got to go.
That's right.
We got to help some people.
I love it. So anyways, so the week of the open road, I like that and clarity on that. And you came up with that title, and I want to ask, what inspired that?
I think that you're going to be in it. I remember Brian Dodge, who's a motivational speaker, say back when he was making his way up the ranks of, NSA and all of that, is that he goes, you're going to be in and out of crisis all times of your life, and so if you're not in one, you're going to go into one. And so we've been talking a lot about things that people are confronting and going up against, right, to really get clarity and to really get some movement. So I figure, I'm like, what better way than to have some kind of discovery or some kind of victory where, and I know that I sent you that photo a little bit earlier because I'm like, what if we had a little visual that we could use as a guide, because I think it's like the open road of life, like right there is that, obviously I chose that picture particularly because of the dark clouds, but then also though there's a sunshine. So if we use it as some symbolism, in life, is that the dark clouds would be the struggle you overcame, and then you're going towards your empowerment. You're going towards what fulfills you. What you're identifying is where you're being called to go. And so what really drew me towards it is that would be the symbolism of your junk is in your past, and you're looking out on the open road. So it's like, what does that mean to you? What is that worth to you to have an open road where your life and the things you overcame are in the past, and everything in the open road is for you to create. So that's a long-winded version of, it's a visual, but it's also the mental practice. That, is it worth that? Whatever your visual of an open road is it worth it to you to get there, no matter what it takes? And you have to do the work before you get the result, right? Like, I wrote down a quote a couple days ago that I shared with several people. Darren Hardy said, "The investment comes before the return and results." So, are you willing to do what it takes through completing matters with people, disrupting your normal frame of mind? Like, if you've wronged somebody and you haven't cleaned it up, are you willing to do that to get that visual, right, of the open road? So long story short, that's what really created it, because we've done a lot of work, but it's like, now what is the reward? What is the victory, after you've done all that mental work? So.
I love, it's really nice that you explain that and that kind of thing, because I'm really, really excited that come June, I'm going to be out on the road myself. But there's a lot of things that I always do beforehand. And, I'm on a road of losing weight, and I'm not going to be exactly where I want to be to meet everybody. Mm-hmm. But that's okay, because they should have seen where I was, right?
Right.
It's just like when somebody sees somebody, they may weigh 400 pounds, but you didn't see them when they weighed 600 pounds,
Correct.
I mean, like you don't know what it takes for people to get where they need to get, but they're taking those steps,
And that speaks to everything about our society, where everything people put out there is like, oh my God, that person has a Rolls Royce, or that person has a Ferrari, or 10 of them. It's like, okay, do they really? Or are you just falling into that mindset that, well, how could a 24-year-old person have a car that's worth $500,000? Okay, you want to believe that, but you're influenced by something that may not even inspire you, but you're drawn to it for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or, I just started this business, and it's worth, and it's making over $300,000 a year. Okay. It just doesn't happen like that, right?
Yeah.
And of course, like, oh, was it inheritance, or was it something that was handed down from a family member? Well, they don't tell you that stuff.
No.
They just tell you, because obviously some people, not everybody, but they validate success only by dollars.
Right.
I know a lot of people that are millionaires. I do.
Oh, yeah.
But not all of them are the happiest people on the planet, or they got problems like family problems or divorces and whatever.
Or trusting the right people. I mean,
here's the thing, is that you got a lot of money in your account, but number one, you can't buy the stuff that you really, those disciplines you can't buy. Second of all, you might have a lot of money roped up into things that are going to be ongoing, like attorneys, childcare, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you shrink that amount of money that somebody has, when you have to look at all these things, of which nobody tells you, right? Yeah. So,
hey, you know Tim Gillette, don't you? Hey, Tim.
I do not. I know that I believe he's. I don't.
He knows Ken. Yeah, he knows Ken Walls. So, okay. Yeah. Hi, Tim. Nice to see you here. He does. Tim. Yeah, he does podcasts too. So, but yeah, it is a clarity thing. After we said being creative, creating and manifesting things last week. Now, in the open road, having clarity of, first making those dreams, but then the clarity of what that really means to you and how that's going to be, or digging in your past to some time when you did have clarity and you did conquer something that was of importance to you. You've got to start all these different things. And, just like the whole thing we said, your mind automatically is always on the negative mode. And when you realize that, you can say, okay, Just like if you have a friend that's a negative Nancy, sorry for all you Nancys out there, but if you're a negative Nancy and that friend still loves you and knows you're going to be like that, you know what they do all the time? Oh, we're going to turn around what she says and we're going to make it positive. So that's what you got to do with your own self. You got to be positive and say, okay, let's get clarity. Let's get this shit, cleared up. It's just like, you got to take a shower to be clean, every day. It's different, brushing your teeth. I mean, just all these different things that are necessary if you want to get or make the impact you want in this world.
Well, and I think that I can't speak enough for that. There's really only two options. You either take the necessary work and time to be clear, because then it firms up your skin. It firms up your layers, right? That you're not going to be denied. The only person needs to make sense to is you and nobody else, right?
Right.
So I think that the thicker the shell that you generate, where if it makes sense to you and you allow yourself time, then it's going to get done because you're not going to be denied, right? So a part of that, that clarity process is that you take the time, right, to be selfish in a good way, right? You get your mind right, but it becomes so apparent about where you need to be, and you're going to get there. And, and I think you firm up inside that this is no longer negotiable. But then there's a flip side. It's when you don't do a damn thing and you wonder why things didn't turn out to where you wanted them to be. Because you're not clear. Like when it comes to wedding planning and all of that kind of thing, is that I'm a huge proponent of, and this is something that nobody talks about. Any of the great celebrity wedding planners, any of that, they don't talk about this stuff. Is that what is the conversations that a couple is having, right, about their wedding, right? What's it about? Are they having conversations about what's important to them, the outcome they want out of their wedding, or are they just kind of willy-nilly going through it and then they don't know if they're coming or going? The same thing applies here. If you're clear and you have conversations with yourself about where you want to go, nobody has a clue about how you're going to get there. That's the journey. You figure stuff out. If you're willing to take a risk and do this kind of thing, hey, Jerry, thanks for being here. If
hey,
you're
Jerry.
willing to take a risk and you're willing to be on that journey, you're going to figure out where to go. But everything about your being calls you there, right?
Right.
And you'll go through heck or high water to get there because the only person it needs to make sense to is you.
Absolutely.
Now, there's going to be a lot of people along your path that might be acquaintances. You might know a little bit more distant than those people that are in your core, your mastermind, or, like Lynn and I, we're going to keep rooting each other on, regardless if we know what it's about or where we're going with it, right? Because there's a space that's carved out because we're like-minded. But there's going to be more people that are going to, are going to try to knock you down. Now, if you're not clear and if you don't do the exercise of clarity where you actually write your stuff down, you're going to be manipulated and influenced by somebody that's not up to it anyway.
Right.
So either you take the time to do it or you're going to be on a hamster wheel because you're not at the source of it. It starts with a plan. It starts with bringing out a pad of paper, using your mind, grab a cup of coffee or a smoothie or whatever, and doing the work so that you create that roadmap.
And this brings us back to the wet wood shit again.
Yep. Wet wood.
Wet wood don't work.
But no.
Wet wood don't work. Wet wood don't work.
I think our guest host on Friday will have to find out what she thinks of wet wood.
Right. But seriously, I love the way we're going with all this every week, because the fact is that we do not realize that it is as easy as creating and being clarity. And clarity doesn't mean that right away you get the 2020 vision and into what you're doing. Right. But it's taking that. It's just like on that road, like you said, especially out here in Montana, it may seem like those mountains are so far, and going uphill and whatever. But as soon as you know it, you're right there and you're like, you can see further points depending on how far you go. It's just, you can't see sometimes your final destination, but there's roads always to take on that.
Yep.
And it just, but you've got to start somewheres. You just, and I think that's why I'm excited about taking my journey, that I'm gonna, matter of fact, Jerry doesn't know it yet, but I know that he's in I think North
North
Carolina
Carolina.
right. So I'm gonna go
Concord,
from
I believe.
Florida.
Concord.
Yeah. I'm planning to go to Charlotte or
Concord.
Charleston. No, I'm planning to go South Carolina to see somebody first, and then I'll take North Carolina because I'm going to New York. So I'm gonna make a turn
Gonna go
over
get
to
some
Jerry's
coffee. Gonna go get some
coffee
coffee.
with Jerry. So, and I may on the way back might see if Ken Walls wants to meet up. I'm gonna really make the opportunity to see as many people as I can on my road,
That's
and
great.
and again, I don't know what that's gonna look like, but it's gonna look like whatever it's gonna be. But I just think that, I could just sit here and say, no, I'm not going nowhere. No, whatever. You know, I've got some good friends. I mean, I'm sure if I had to do a GoFundMe to fix my car on the way, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm just ready for whatever
Or
I've got
or find
AAA.
somebody that'll let you drive their vehicle with intermittent wipers.
Shut up. So all I'm saying is I'm ready for the journey. I'm ready for the excitement. I'm ready to say, shit, I got to stop at this rest stop. And now I got to do my show with Brian for a quick minute, like I'm freaking excited to just Romeo and Porter. So this is what happened. And this is what happened. I mean, like, I'm so freaking excited. And, being part of the Tribune now too. I mean, like, there's just so much excitement. None of this shit would have happened if I didn't, take all these steps,
Yeah.
And so it's a great to just have clarity of, you may not have all the clarity up front, but the clarity and where it starts is just beginning. Just beginning.
Well, and there's so much evidence is that, okay, call out your analogy or call out your situation, like you're going on a road trip, right? You don't get to where you're going without having a plan, right? Without being clear about what roads I'm going to take or the mindset I'm in or what I'm going to do on the road or what I'm going to listen to. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to get on the road, you can. And I know that there's some people that are very in the moment and whatnot, great, but they're going to have some stuff to figure out later, right? Mm-hmm. And so, to give credit where credit's due, Scott McCain, who we both know, is that one of the four cornerstones of distinction is clarity. That's the first one, because you really can't go anywhere or make a difference or be somebody that's up to big things without having an idea where you want to go. Right. And so even like live streaming, right? Each of us has our distinctions with our personalities and who we are. Well, right. Unless we're clear about that it's like, unless we're clear about who we are as people and pushing that to instead of, like John Lee Dumas talked about on his interview with Joe Ingram, it's like, instead of going a lot horizontal and very little deep, why not go 1 inch wide and 10 feet deep, right? And so, but you have to be willing to give up the naysayers, and you have to be willing to desensitize from that if any of the clarity thing is going to work, right? Because if you're manipulated or influenced by everybody, you're never going to choose anything. You're never going to make any plans. You're never going to be clear because you feel some need to have influence from all these people, but without ever deciding what it is that you want to be clear about.
Right.
So.
No, and that's exactly like my intention of going out on the road June 1st is going to see my dad. By Father's Day, I'm going to be at my dad's. That's and cool. And God, I hope it doesn't take that long visiting everybody to do everything I want to do. But that's my first goal is, to really get there before Father's Day. And everything else is just up to like me slowly planning, where can I be, what time, and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting mapping that out a little bit. Yeah. And giving myself flexibility, because that's one thing I'm really rigid. Like, if I say I'm going to be there by Friday at 2:00, I do everything I can to be there at 12:00, but this time I'm going to be like, no, if for some, I want to stop, or, whatever, I'm going to give myself that permission and that play with everybody. Say, hey, Brian, I might see you within the next 3 days and I'll let you know when I'm closer. Like I'm giving myself that permission, and I'm sure everybody else is not going to mind, but I'm saying I'm finally allowing myself to see what that feels like, because that's going to be out of my comfort zone. Because if I tell you a certain time, I'm going to do something rigid to be there. And I'm going to be like, no, Lynn, this is the first time you go at your pace. And that's something I've never experienced, but I'm going to give myself that experience. And if it doesn't work out for those people, for their schedule or something, that's fine too. I'm going to let that be. But I'm just going to give myself that permission to say, no, you deserve to just, because I'm anal. I mean, I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'll drive till 4 o'clock, and I'll drive all that time, and I'll be like, well, sorry, I don't want to stop here now because I got 6 hours, and I'm just very rigid. Right. And so I'm going to do my best to say, no, this is a journey.
Right. Well, and are you willing to pay the price for clarity? And I mean, does clarity cost anything? I'm not talking about any money exchange. I'm talking about the time where you just get yourself into a place of no distractions, no noise, silence, as we talked about in the previous show, to get clear. Because if we correlate that picture that Lynn just shared at the beginning with the open road, what are you willing to do to get that, right? And we're not talking about thousands of dollars you have to spend or whatever, in your mind. What are you doing to get that, right? What are you doing to get to a place of that you don't live with regrets? You know, if there's a project you want to get done, when you start breaking it down and even giving yourself, here's the thing, reward yourself with some time in silence, right? Reward yourself with some time in silence. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes. The time doesn't matter. But I can guarantee you this, you'll want more of it if you start doing it every day.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
And that's just it. Like, I know certain things and I'm working it out in my mind now, way before we get there. Is like, my biggest deal is like, if I get somewhere by 5 o'clock, I mean, I may want to have my hotel room and say, okay, I'll meet you tomorrow and spend the whole day so that I can leave at 5 o'clock like I normally want to leave, not just hurry up, get there that night, hurry up, be half tired, and then leave at 5 in the morning. So I'm saying, give yourself a permission that the next day you'll see them and, you'll sleep and blah, 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 and it's just having those conversations with yourself and saying, this is okay. And all thinking of all the positive, let go of any, what if this could happen, but you know what?
There's always going to be, that's the way life is.
Well, what? With 100 miles of AAA towing, hello, I can get to a Chrysler dealership, I'm sure, like along the way. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, those aren't even options. I'll think of all the positive things that could go right and leave the rest alone and just go with that, because the woulda, shouldas will creep in and you don't want that.
Well, to recognize several people, it's like, obviously I'm a big Jeffrey Gitomer fan and, met him several times. And, he talks about, tell me what you can do. Don't tell me what you can't do. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then another one is that, tomorrow's workday starts the night before.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with both of those.
So if we look at that open road without clarity and it's all within you, what is the cost? And here's another, I'm calling out all these people that I've learned from, like Scott McCain, the return on inaction, ROI, but the other side, right?
Right.
What's the return on having a road that has everything on it, like traffic everywhere, and that's your brain? Yeah. What is that worth to you to have all of that and your health is being affected by it versus not having it there, and it's done by you just focusing on you? Yeah. You got a notepad or you got a digital device that you're documenting this stuff down, right? What is the open road for you to be present in every moment? Is that worth it to you to get rid of all the other crap going on in your world that you keep regurgitating every day because it's not complete for one reason or another?
Yeah.
To me, it's a no-brainer.
I may not be the perfect weight I want to be by the time I see everybody, but I know I'm not going to weigh the way I am now. And I'm just excited by that. I'm just excited that, everybody's been a part of my journey, and it's just excited to be like, whatever's going to be. I used to be where like, shit, reunion, shit, I'm going to New York. I don't want nobody to see me, just all these different things. And I was like, I'm not hiding. I'm freaking, I'm here. I'm doing
Well,
things,
and
you
you bring
know?
up a good point, Lynn, is that another way to look at this whole open road concept is that look at the open road in every area of your life, right?
Exactly.
Look at it every,
Exactly.
like you were talking about your health and, your health and wellness, right? But then it could be appearance. I mean, look at the open road in every part of your life. It could be relationships, it could be your weight, it could be your health. It could,
Yeah.
each one of those is its own road, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you're clear about what that road is, you might not be at your end goal yet, but you're
Yeah.
clear that you're not going to be taken back from who you are just because you're not there.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I was even thinking, like, shit, because your mind really goes to negative and your mind starts
Yep.
thinking things. And I'm like, well, shit, in 3 months, I'm like, do I need to buy clothes or am I going to buy clothes? And I'm like, you know what? I don't freaking care if I see you in my biggie, baggy ass clothes and I'm still hiding. I don't give a shit. I'm like,
Right.
I don't care. Let's just I'm not going to spend the money on clothes till I need to, or like, I'm just giving myself permission. I'm going to show up. I'm just freaking showing up,
Yep.
showing up the best I can for that moment. It just, I'm excited just to definitely see the whole evolving and realizing that people may see me in different segments of that, but then there's next summer when I go out on the road again,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just love being the living testament of evolving and actually allowing people in my world like I never have before.
Right.
And allowing people to see that this time when I'm where people say, damn, you look good and damn, you're doing this and this and that. I'm gonna say, I got some film you could go look at because you know, it's everything we do every day, like I used to have such a hard time with water. I still do, but I'm more mindful to drink more often than I used to. I mean, it's the simplest little freaking things like that are making a difference in my life. And man, this sugar, I mean, I'm away from sugar. Sugar was like my enemy. Sugar is like, I should take a freaking picture just to be a poster child of what the hell sugar should do to you. But it's just, it's just the mindset and the clarity of saying, let's try this road and see where it gets us,
Yeah.
and that truly is exciting when you think about that.
Well, and it's like who doesn't want to set aside their demons?
Yeah.
Like, really, because either you feel them or you don't. I don't. It just blows my doors off. It's like people, and I do it too.
We all do. It's human.
I mean, but to give yourself the every day or every week or whatever it's like to be like, hey, am I going to be in control of my life today?
Well, put it
Because
this way,
if
Brian.
you're not clear, I'm sorry, but nobody else is going to, it's not like you're going to run across somebody on the street to say, hey, I have all your clarity answers.
Well, put it this way, Brian. You've done more traveling than I have so far this year with us being together.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't you feel like this has been such a great accountability for both of us just to show up,
Absolutely.
and how much it's enhanced both of our lives. I freaking just love it. Like everybody should have this,
And the beautiful part about it is simplicity.
Yeah.
That whatever this however someone perceives live streaming and the show, and oh my God, what happens, and what if there's silence, and what if I don't know what to say, or what if I stutter? Okay. Or
it happens.
You'll move past that.
Yeah.
But if inside of your heart you're doing it with intention and purpose,
Yeah,
and it's not self-indulgent, you're gonna go places.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be humble about it, but it's like all of the technology and all this and all that, whenever I hear conversations about that, and I'm not just saying about this, what brought us together, but in any area of my industry, whenever somebody talks about the technology and they need to get this and they need to get that, I already know what the answer is going to be. They're not even going to start doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's something other than what they already have. Like for instance, video testimonials, right? From customers. Right. You don't need a DSLR camera. You don't need these big, big lights and all of that. What you need is very simple. A smartphone device, natural light, a time with a couple, or if it's a wedding, and a quiet environment.
Yeah.
but everything is made much bigger than what it is. And it's like, okay, the further distance that is, the less like you're going to do anything.
Well, and I think that's what we love is that we do enjoy our time. I mean, because sometimes we get on here and we can't talk after, but we're like, okay, goodbye. But it's great that we have, committed, and I wish that for everybody, that they could have somebody accountable, that they just enjoy having a topic every day or whatever, and I love that we do this Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And between picking up Rayleigh and dropping Rayleigh off, this is it. And it's a great feeling to know that you gotta have that clarity of knowing that you're catapulting yourself to the next level if you show up. Like they
Well,
always say, half the battle is showing up.
well, I mean, just like let's look at our show, for instance, right? Is if we showed up every day with not knowing what we're going to talk about, or at least as a topic or title or whatever, we're not helping ourselves, definitely, and we're not helping everybody watching, all of our loyal listeners and anybody catching the replay.
Right.
So what are we doing? We're wasting everybody's time.
Right.
And so figuring it out, I mean, just a little bit of prep work, right? We've got it down to, just thinking about it. It's like, ooh, where do we want to go? And sometimes I don't have the answers, but I check in with Lynn and we figure it out, but we're not hard on ourselves about it.
No,
because
this is fun.
When you're trying to come up with an idea or fix a problem or come up with a solution, the worst time you can do it is when you're looking for it.
Yeah.
That's why the best ideas come when you're not racking your brain to try to find something.
We said that last Friday. He says, I don't know what we're talking about, but we got the weekend.
A good night's sleep will do great things for creativity.
Absolutely. That's how I feel about that too. And
but here's the thing is that it blows me away that the most obvious things are just so undermined these days. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it just came to me this morning. I heard it on a podcast, and it's nothing new, but I heard it differently this time, is that you want to have a better life, do 3 things consistently: proper rest, proper diet, and exercise. I've heard that hundreds of times, thousands of times, who knows, maybe hundreds of thousands of times. But it landed to me that it's like, wow, because what gets in the way is all the noise, the diets, how often you should do it, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's what gets in the way versus the root of it, right? And clarity is the root of it. Why you do what you do. Now, why you do what you do is important, but the how you do it for others, that's what they're paying. That's why they tune in if it's a live stream, how you do it. Because the one thing that nobody can take away is us.
Yeah, absolutely.
The dynamic and how we have it is going to be entirely different than a different show.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. It's just that there's different people involved.
Exactly. Well, just like, oh, you're so sweet. I love you.
Oh, you saw that? Oh,
yeah, I did. Anyways.
But to me, it's just like, you don't, I don't know. This just gets me because I'm going through like journals. Like I come up with ideas all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a journal just about ideas and brain dump. Anything that comes into my brain, I put it in my little journal, my moleskin or whatever.
That's awesome.
And it's like, okay, that serves a purpose, but I can hone that, because otherwise, you just have a bunch of ideas everywhere. But if you want to take it to the next level, not only do you have to have the notebook with you, but then what are you going to do with it? And then if you don't find it, right away, you're going to get frustrated.
So, yeah.
So honing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, wow, I can make that electronic. I can save it on every device. I can have it with me at all times. To me, that makes me more productive. That makes me feel good that I stayed with that project until it's complete, because I'm notorious. I'm working on it. I'm not there yet, but I'm notorious for opening up a lot of projects, right?
Yeah, I am too.
And I work at them a little by little. Well, to 100% takes a lot longer when you have a lot of projects that you want to complete, but you don't do one to completion, right? So I'm learning that. But the only way I would learn that is by what has that previous mindset done for me? I got incomplete projects. Okay, what's the clarity? Am I beating myself up over it? Am I making myself wrong? Yes. Well, how do I get rid of all that? Well, I do one at a time.
Well, the awesome thing is, if and when you do get a project done, it's amazing, the feeling of accomplishment.
Yep.
I mean, that's why I tackle, oh, I'm going to just do this, go through these papers or whatever. Even if it's just small, but I'm completing it.
Yep.
And it makes you feel complete. And it really is when you start achieving all these different things you've done, you're like, wow, it's such a great feeling.
Yes.
And so it is all about clarity of how are these things going to make you feel? I mean, clarity is about how's that going to make you feel if you get this done, and decluttering yourself and all these things that we've talked about in the past. It just becomes more clear that when you eventually, and we're not knocking if you do a little at a time. Like every week, I'm just taking 1 or 2 bags out of stuff. That's my mission. It might take me all freaking year to finally have this place looking like I moved or something. But the point is it eventually, it's got to stop. It's got to finish.
Well, here's the thing. As human beings, we don't know the difference between our reptilian brain and whatnot, where it's just like, okay, it's like, oh my God, I got all this stuff. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Where was the previous 15 years every day or every week that you're going to work on it a little bit versus like, oh, now. And it's
I know.
And so that's the interesting part is like, we never recognized where we were dormant in the past. We only recognize right now that it's not where we want to be. Well, we need to give ourselves a little bit of leeway there.
It's just like saving $50, like if you would have did $50 or $25 a week and add that from how old you are, like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that simple, that compound effect. It really is that whole compound effect. That's a really good book, and it really brings it down.
Darren Hardy.
Yes. I really think that that's a great book. And truly, when you realize that everything is just about taking a direction to what you truly want, it's better than just having it in your mind and not creating it and not letting it become fruition. I mean, it truly is. It's that.
To me, clarity is where you're on your path and you don't care what anybody thinks.
Exactly. And how long it's going to take you.
My mentor, Bill, who inspired me to do those walks every day, right? 2 to 4 miles every day. Yesterday, he just celebrated day 731 because last year was a leap year. Okay. So now he's moving on to, he's going to do it. He's going to go for 3 years. And he had a few people there. His wife, one of his daughters were there. They met at a park or a park with a walk area. And he went live at around 3:00 Central Standard Time yesterday. And awesome. This time around, now he's going to raise money and donations for this place that people that got houses or got lodging or places to stay, they can go in like a grocery store and pick out furniture, right? Awesome. They don't have to, it's just like go in, pick out what you want, and you leave, and there's no cost. So That's what he's going to be doing starting today all the way until day 1,000. So awesome. He's the one that inspired me to look at it in terms of like the only path you're on is yours, right? Yeah. Like what another person's path is, that's them. The part I had an issue with is I couldn't disconnect that. It's like, well, my path is not their path, and I'm like, well, why would you not want this path? I know. Yeah. When he made me sever that tie, just like cutting that ribbon, where it's like, hey, it doesn't make that person wrong. It's just that it's different. Right. That their path is different than mine, and I need to make it clear for myself because I'm the only one that's going to be accountable to it. Yeah. Well, you just reminded me back in the day before my arthritis and my knees got really bad, I used to walk 2 to 5 miles a day, and I loved it. But I just knew that my joints, they just can't have them. I mean, it's just like, but I miss those days. So someday I'll get my knee surgery, and I get knee surgery. I used to love jogging. There's times I would dream about jogging. That's how much I love it. So I keep thinking, if they give me some hard ass titanium, and then I'm like, do I rig this where I stay heavy so that they give me some strong titanium so that when I lose weight, can compensate and go back to running? I'm like trying to negotiate this in my head. Well,
I'm like, can you give me the shit that I could go running for a while? Because I'm
well,
serious. I loved the runner's high. I really loved the runner's high. It was something I really truly loved.
well, you were clear about why you were doing it. I mean, it went to your core, it went to your belief system, right? It
Yeah,
was a part
yeah,
of you. You embodied it.
yeah,
And it's like as you were talking, I've just reflected on several times when I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 or whatever it was, and by 8 o'clock, it's like, holy crap! Like I'm in just a place of bliss, if you will.
yeah. Well,
It, it,
and
it,
even
and like, what is the cost of that? What is that?
yeah.
What is the return on that?
Yeah. Well, and I'm like this, man. I get in my invisible zone. I don't give a shit. But Ricky can tell you this. I mean, chunky girl, I get on 10-speed bike and I ride, man. I rode in Milwaukee downtown all the time. Ricky watched out thinking I was gonna die. Lynn, these cars are not gonna stop me. I don't care. But and we went down this one path and it was this river, uh dock or whatever, and oh shit, I was going too fast for the curve, so I just like almost went a freaking, I don't know, murky whatever. But I don't give a shit, and then that messed up my knee a little bit more, so I'm like, I can't ride bike like I used to, but I don't care. I'll just do whatever I want to do. I mean, it's just, other people look at me like, look at this girl riding bike. I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And it's just a relieving feeling when I say, I don't give a shit what people think when I look like. I'm doing this because I want to do.
Well,
And
and I think, and that's always a discovery process. That's always ongoing because, as neuroscientists and many people have said, at a maximum, we only use 10% of our brain.
yeah,
Think about that.
yeah,
We don't know what we don't know about our own brain
yeah,
because we're only aware of what we use. But in the whole scheme of things,
yeah,
right? And it's just, to me, to be in a place of your belief system is high. You don't care what anybody thinks about you. Your heart is everywhere you go, and people either see it or they don't.
right.
And it's kind of like the clear and create exercise that my buddy Bill, taught me years ago in some of his training. It's kind of like when you live your life where the only thing that's there is whatever you're doing right now, but it's not packed full, like jammed full, like Tetris, right?
Yeah,
And it's like when you can just be somewhere with somebody, or you're on the road and you're driving to wherever, nothing can phase you.
right.
You know what I mean? You're present.
Exactly.
Your humanity is at an all-time high,
Yeah,
and you're not you you're not. There's no make wrong of anybody else. And
yeah,
it's kind of like when when a little kid will play little league baseball or t-ball, right? And then through the ranks, they played in high school, then they get on a little private league, then they get drafted for
yeah,
college. But then ultimately, where I'm going with this is that they slow the process down in their mind. Like when a major league, undoubtedly one of the most difficult things for out of all professional athletics to do is hit a baseball, right? In the major leagues. Okay. That I remember years ago with on Sunday Night Baseball was Joe Morgan and legendary broadcasters. They actually went through the metrics about how much happens from the time that the ball is thrown
oh yeah,
and when a batter has to decide if they're gonna hit it. And
oh
so
yeah,
they have no more than 1.3 seconds, no more
yeah,
than 1.3 seconds to identify the pitch, see if they're going to swing, and then either hit the ball or not. 1.3 seconds. Now, how can something traveling so fast or so slow be identified in such a quick period of time? It's because they've trained their mind to get clear about what it is, and they do it over and over again. It's not a one-time deal, right? It's kind of like some people that we had a show about decluttering, right? Several shows about decluttering. It's like, okay, how do you declutter? You do it.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like
Bit
what
by
you're doing
bit.
with bags, right? Like,
Yeah,
and like the minimalist Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus, where they have the 30-day challenge, right? Where the first day of the 30-day challenge, you remove one item from your house, whatever it
Yeah.
is. And then every day that goes on, you add whatever that day is on your challenge. You remove that amount
amount.
of items that correlate.
Right. Right.
You know, it's a day by day thing, but you got to want it.
Right.
Nobody else is going to want what you want because you're not them and they're not
That's
you.
right.
So this kind of stuff just fires me up because it's like my brain thinks very deep about things.
Yeah.
And so for me to simplify it to the point where, wow, for me to be clear is one of the best things on the planet, because then it's like, ooh, if I have an idea, I write it down and I know where to find all of my ideas versus they're everywhere, right? This notebook, this digital device, all of it. No, it's here.
Yeah. It's just like for me, like I have June 1st in my head that I'm going to just take my journey. Right. And so to me, for the moments that I want to either say, oh, you know, F it, I'm going to have sugar, which I just don't see in my mind. But if I did come to that, I mean, okay, so like I had a keto dessert yesterday. I felt guilty, but it's keto. I mean, it's like it's chocolate caramel pecan, and it's got so many net carb. But the thing is like it doesn't taste sugary because the way they have the chocolate, you know, and everything. So I was like, oh shit, I'm impressed. And I was impressed that I could eat it, and I wasn't obsessed to eat the whole damn freaking box, you know. So I was like, damn. But the thing is, it's like I look at I have clarity that I want to feel better, you know, for my trip. I want to be able to maybe walk a little bit better on my trip, you know. And so like, you know, because I'm not worrying about what anybody else thinks of what I look like. Then I'm thinking more of how I'm going to feel, what I can do more, and my clarity and stuff, you know. And as far as clarity, when you do clean up your simple things of your health, I mean, your what you're eating. I mean, if you feel like shit, maybe put down the donut. A fat girl here is telling you that because it's true. I mean, I'm just being real.
If clarity doesn't like how we talked about last week, where manifestation is not, I don't personally relate to that word, but I do creation. There's another word that would complement clarity, simplicity, right?
Right.
And so when we look at simplicity, I'm a firm believer that in order to get to simplicity, you have to go through complexity.
Right. And the thing is when you're in that complexity, when you have the freaking donut, but ask yourself after, how did that make you feel? How do you feel? Is it worth the minute you spent on that? I mean, like, look at it from a different perspective and take note. Don't just be numb to it, but take note. Like, I've done a lot of that, you know, with my stomach and my health issues. Is like, how did that make me feel? Is that really, I don't have as many attacks as I, you know, normally do or anything, but it's one of those things where you have to take accountable of, how does this make you feel? And that's with any situation. How does that make you feel when you do that or this or that?
Well, you bring up a good point, Lynn, because it's like, okay, there's one thing to, you know, you've been good this week, and obviously we're not perfect, right?
Right.
But if I see it come over across like one donut is one thing.
Right.
3 donuts, or you keep eating them and then all of a sudden you make yourself wrong after.
So this is the deal, right? Like, I know certain shit, like pasta is like a trigger for me. Like,
absolutely,
I can't just have one damn thing. For some reason, I could eat the whole freaking pot of pasta, right? So why even have it if that's a temptation for me? I don't go there with those things. I won't go there because I know that my mindset's one thing, but whatever is obsession with the freaking sugar or pasta is something that I don't have time to figure out. And it's not good for me. So I don't go there. So why set yourself up for failure?
Correct. Well,
you know,
the clarity in this is portion size. I do it once in a while. I don't buy it when I go to the grocery store. It's you know, the clarity is like, this is a reward.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to totally take yourself away from pasta.
Yeah.
But the clarity is that, I know that this is a tempting thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, candy bars, whatever it is, soda, any of that.
Yeah.
Right? Are we saying to get rid of all the stuff that you might like and goodies and whatnot? Absolutely not.
No.
But the clarity is like, okay, if I have one donut, I'll be okay.
Right.
if I have 3 donuts, I'm going to have a bellyache and not feel well.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's just those little things.
But
That's why the open
yeah,
road is all of these things. Each phase of life has its own road.
exactly. It's just like, people that have obsession with cigarettes, I can't help the fact that they put poisonous shit in there that makes them addicted.
Correct.
Same thing with sugar. Same thing with so many different things that are not good for you. Same thing with alcohol if you want to feel buzzed. I mean, these different things, but you also got to take your perspective and say, let's have some clarity. How good would I feel if I didn't have these things that are holding me back from being who I am?
Right.
If you want a different result.
Well, in my part of the clarity, given that context about smoking and whatnot, is I know several people that smoked. I used to smoke back in college, right? So I can relate to it on that level. But my point of view would be, it's one thing to be up in the stands talking about somebody smoking. It's another thing to be on the court with that person about why they smoke.
Right.
Like, you connect to why they do it. Are they stressed out? Is it, is their life stressful? What is it? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a psychological addiction,
Yeah.
right? And the nicotine is just what keeps them around.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's a difference. The clarity to me would be, as I know exactly why they do it.
Yeah.
And also, though, to empathize with them, that it's like, hey, quitting smoking is not an easy thing to do.
No, and right.
Because I've
and
been there, right?
Right.
I kicked it and all of that. I stopped cold turkey, which is not easy for people.
Right.
But the clarity is relatedness to me, because
Right.
I can connect to it because I've been there, versus somebody that just points a finger and, oh yeah, they smoke and they know it's a poison. Well, wait a minute, that's pointing fingers.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's
No.
not connecting with somebody and where they are in the world.
Well, it's the same thing with, I like sugar. People would say, what the hell, you like sugar? Why do you like buttercream frosting on your cake? I mean,
who doesn't?
Well, there's some people that do.
Well,
I mean,
okay, let's just lay it out here, is that knowing how abundant sugar is in pretty much everything on the planet, besides very few things. If we went through cupboard or somebody's refrigerator, I guarantee we could find sugar. Unless they just totally fresh, no nothing, but
it's in everything. And that's why I'm only having eggs and chicken and tuna fish right now. And I do spoil with one piece of keto bread. I mean, I'll do that. And then I have pork rinds. But I'm just saying, like, for right now, because I feel like I'm in an addict recovery thing, like myself, I'm just, for the next month, I mean, and I had the little chocolate caramel pecan or whatever, but it's 2 net carbs, whatever, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not putting the net carbs in as much, because I just need to say, no, Lynn, this is what you need to do now to get, I'm just kind of hardcore on myself.
Here's the thing, Lynn. There's 2 points that about clarity. You had one, you didn't have a whole box.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Number 2 is that the weight that you gain that you want to get rid of didn't come overnight.
No, exactly.
So it's those extra portions. It's the whole thing. Your mindset, how you're feeling, what you're going through in life, all packed into one.
Right.
So you didn't get to you didn't get to your health where it was now just because it just happened, like you were not doing anything with your life, right? But it's the same thing on the flip side, is that you have to go through the complexity, which is all the cravings, to get to the simplicity. It's like, I'm only gonna have one of those. That's my victory, that's my bonus. Now here's the thing, some people could say, well, it's only one. Well,
it's better than nothing.
Correct. Well, and here's the thing: anything with sugar, anything with chocolate or whatever, how many? That's an addictive thing, right? So it's like, okay, a full box or one.
Right.
If that's not discipline, I don't know what is, because sugar, the more you eat of it, the more you want of it. So if you scale it back, there's not enough. I don't know, inner reward or inner victory that we give ourselves. It's kind of like when we're in a size and a look that we don't want, we make ourselves wrong. Well, even if we're on our way of acknowledging it and being clear that I don't want to stay here, and then you work at it, right?
Right.
Even if we were to get to our optimal size, figure, look, or whatever, we probably still wouldn't be happy with ourselves.
Yeah, and I used to think 50 pounds ago that I was really huge until I gained the extra 50 pounds, like
Right.
shit. But now I'm gonna appreciate it.
But
Now
here's the thing.
it's taken me a long
Here's
time.
another thing too, is that okay, and I've mentioned this in other shows. Your personality and who you are in the world, that is
That doesn't
non-negotiable.
right.
It doesn't waver. You're
Right.
going to be who you're going to be, right?
Yep.
And that's in addition to how people may view you, which you don't care anyways, right?
Exactly.
I would much rather take some person that is sure of themselves and their attitude and their behavior and who they are in the world over somebody that has to be appeased by everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's still funny though. I always look at people, especially when I meet them. I'm like, yeah, I got a big booty. I'm like, let's get over. Just look at me, see me. This is who I am, and get it over and done with.
Right.
And I'm like, because it's like, I'm not knocking anybody, so I don't want the hate mail here, but I just think that some people that are not healthy weight, they are happy with themselves, and I think that's really cool.
Well, you're
that's
accepting
really
of yourself.
right. But the thing is I was never cool being heavy for me. And so I called that out on for myself, not for anybody else.
Right.
I say, hey, I let myself down. Here it is. And that's being transparent. That's being vulnerable. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like what I did. It's like having a jalopy car. Shit, I don't like when I backed into the car with this one. I don't like when I T-boned this person. I don't like all this shit.
Does it have intermittent wipers?
Oh, let's not go there.
Well, another piece that just stands out in my head is just this elusiveness and not, just this invisible thing you're moving towards, but you can't describe it, like whether it's society, role models, supermodels, whatever it is. It's like, if somebody's going to, it's a certain type of person that's going to say, okay, I know where I'm not where I want to be figure wise, but just get your looks out of the way.
That's
forward,
what I do.
right?
That's exactly what I do. Because
you know how many people that are not content with themselves, like what's in their heart and mind,
right.
would be like, they would not say anything and they would just kind of be, I don't know, not a great person to be around, maybe.
And
bring everybody else down.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do is I say, okay, yep, I'm not happy what I look like, but I showed up. And,
and
usually that impacts people.
You're relating with other people that might be facing that versus like, I don't need any help. I don't want anybody to talk to me. And it's like, well, wait a minute. It's one thing to have a strong belief system, but if you don't have the challenge or support from other people, I'm sorry, but you're probably going to fail.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's your journey and yes, you have to do it for yourself, but to have people that, the more you make aware of this is what you're trying to do, there's going to be people that naturally want you to succeed and be there for yourself.
Exactly.
But if you're going to disregard people because it's like, oh, I don't want them to know and all of it, what are you telling them about yourself?
You live your life so sad and you're just burning out your flicker and you're just not being. And that's why I said, I'm like, damn it, I'm going to see everybody. I'm going to have these chunky pictures of me with all these people and I don't care. Because then a year later, it's going to be, this is just a life-changing thing I'm doing. It might take me a freaking whole another year and a half to lose 100 pounds. I don't give a shit. But, it's like I'm surrounding myself by people that love me for me. And, and I love that. And I'm grateful for that. And nobody needs to know my journey except for those that care. And that's fine with me. And so,
and I think that might be the piece I was looking for is like, that thing that really people can't say what it is because they don't know what it is, but they keep pushing and pushing. And it's like, well, wait a minute, that you can be sure of yourself in a positive way, because you're doing it, you're already fine internally and you're doing this because you want to, versus I'm really not too sure of myself. If anything, I'm more negative, but maybe once I get that thing, then
Well,
I'll be better, or I'll feel in a better spirits. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If you don't feel great on the inside first, you're not going to, I could save
yeah.
people a lot of time. You're not going to be that when you achieve it.
Right. And that's the excitement. This is third time is a charm for me. And the fact is the two other times I didn't appreciate when I lost the weight. I didn't
Right.
appreciate what I went through. And this time I had more challenges. I had health challenges. So it's exciting for me to be able to be kind of an example to those that feel like, but you don't understand, Lynn. I'm like, oh, I understand more than you do, you know?
Well, and your intention and purpose is more defined.
Yeah. So,
Because not only are you doing it for you, but you're taking all those lessons
yeah.
based on those opportunities. It's not, you didn't fail. It was just an opportunity. It was an opportunity for something more.
Oh, I got the door going and it is time to leave.
Yes.
So you want to close us out by speaking, and I'm going to mute myself. Everybody, you have a great day.
Thank everybody for being here. We can't thank everybody enough for being loyal to our show. Tomorrow we're going to be on day number 2 of the week of the open road. On Friday we'll have another guest host with us doing an improv style show. Lynn, do you want to pop up the action step for this week?
Oh, I didn't put no action steps down.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
We can't thank everybody enough for being with us on day number 1 of the week of the open road. And Lynn and I'll see you back tomorrow for day number 2. So join us tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.